Hello, and this is the over 1.5 drip strategy. For this strategy, we're going to be cutting our stake up into 5 parts, and then we're going to be dropping them into the market as soon as the match goes into play at different price points. So let's take a look at how this strategy works. And this is to be used in the over 1.5 full-time market, and for this strategy it's ideal that the odds are greater than 1.2, and all 5 back bets are going to go in the first minute of play. The reason why we put these in the first minute of play and not before the match goes into play is sometimes if it's a less liquid market, there's a chance that the match might not go into play at all, so then you've got your entire stake exposed for the duration of the game. So we need to make sure that the match goes into play first. Once it's in play, it will then put your bets into the market. So it's going to split your stake up into 5 parts. And bet 1 will be placed 5 ticks away, bet 2 10 ticks away, bet 3 20 ticks away, and you've guessed the rest, bet 4 30 and bet 5 40. If there's a goal in the first half, we're not going to green up straight away. Instead, what we're going to do, we're going to allow the game to run, and if it's still 1-0 or 0-1 at half time, at that point it's then going to green and exit the position. However, at half time, if it's still 0-0, we're going to allow the bet to run into the second half. But as always, make sure you've got the match on high alert, so if there's a red card, you can exit the trade straight away. And following a goal in the second half, we're going to allow the market to settle for 60 seconds, and then we're going to exit the position for the profit. However, if it's still 0-0, we need to be readying up around the 75th minute. We're going to take a loss and move on. And again, in the second half, if there's a red card, exit your position. I'd say that this is a basic to intermediate bot, but it's vital that you test everything thoroughly in practice mode first. So with all that being said, let's get this created. Okay, so to create the bot for the over 1.5 strategy, what I'd suggest you do is go over to soccer and all matches if you do a full search, and then if you right click and select over and under 1.5 goals and then add them into Guardian, let's just select the top match, which is Barcelona. If you go over to automation, you'll see we can now create a new rules file for the selected market. So that's what we're going to do, we're going to select that. So rule name, we are going to call this number 1, and back over 1.5 at 5 ticks. As you know, we're splitting our stake up into 5 lots, so we're going to have 5 lots of bets going in at different times. But what we're going to do is we're going to create the first one first at 5 ticks, and then we're just going to copy that 5 times, and then we're just going to change the parameters. So the first one is back over 1.5 at 5 ticks, and this is place a back bet. And the back bet wants to be going in 1 minute after the match goes into play, and we'll just do it for 2 minutes as well, to a maximum of 2 minutes. We're going to allow this to trigger just the one time, and we are going to apply this to Betfair order number 2. Betfair number 2 is the over 1.5 market. And then moving on to the parameters. We don't want to be taking the best market price. We want custom ticks above the best market price. So for the first bet, we're going with 5 ticks. And because we're splitting our stake up into 5, if we have a total stake of £50, this is going to be for £10. And there are no further parameters for this back bet. So let's move over to conditions. And the first condition is that the market is in play. And then the back price is greater than 1.2. We can also add one in as the number of selections is equal to 2. That means that we can't accidentally put this on the match odds market. And finally, the number of match bets condition on the market is equal to 0. This just stops us from putting it on accidentally if we reload the market twice, or if we reload the automation twice. So we can go ahead and apply them changes. So there's two things we can do. We can either create a new rule, or what we can do, we can simply copy this one 5 times and then just change the tick size. So the next one will be 10 ticks. Then apply. Then 20 ticks. Apply. There you go, nice little shortcut. So now what we've got to look at is the exit strategies. The first exit strategy is if there is a goal in the first half, we're going to be looking at greening up at half time. So we need to add a new rule, and we need to call this green at half time. And this is a green all selections, the match is in play, and we're going to be looking at 48 minutes to 1 hour and 15 minutes. This brings us to past half time mark. We're going to allow this to trigger on any, and we want it to do it more than once. Let's do it 5 times and wait 60 seconds. And press apply. There are no parameters, but what we do want to do, we want to make sure that we are in a positive profit position. So to do this, we need to add a new condition, and then green all profit conditions if greater than 50 pence, and apply. And then one last one, unsuspended time condition, we want that greater than 120 seconds. We need the market to be settled just in case there's any overreaction. So unsuspended time condition is greater than 120 seconds. And then apply. We can save ourselves a little bit of time. What we're going to do, we can actually extend this to 1 hour and 45 minutes. So if you're in a positive green position into the second half, as soon as there's a goal, 120 seconds after the unsuspension, it's going to green you out for the profit. So let's apply that. And then the worst case scenario, we're going to have to add and exit if there's no goals. If it's currently 0-0 around the 75th minute, we're going to have to exit for a heavy red. So this is something else that we're going to have to factor in. So if we add a new rule and call this exit on no goals, and again it's green on selections, and we have to try and work out and take into consideration any injury time in the first half. So if we go from 1 hour 32 minutes to 1 hour and 35, and we're going to allow this to trigger 5 times, 60 seconds between rearming and any selection. And the condition for this, there is no profit conditions. All we will say is unsuspended time condition is greater than 120 seconds. So at that point in time, we need to make sure it's in play as well. So now the last thing we need to do is, following the initial bets, we need to make sure that all them bets are kept, because you could have unsuspensions in the game and it not necessarily be a goal. So we need a keep all rule. So the rule name is keep all, and the rule type is keep all unmatched bets, and this is during the in-play time. So we want to go from the 1st minute to the 5th minute. We know that the first lot of bets going on the stroke of the 1st minute, so we need to be after that. But we can allow this to trigger 20 times if we want to, and wait 10 seconds before rearming. This can be on any selection. And again, this is on the in-play time. So that's it, we are done for this automation creation. Last thing to do is to save it and give it a name. And then this will also be available to download on the Over 1.5 strategy page. So we're going to take a look at a live example now. It's Sevilla versus Atletico Madrid in the Over 1.5 drip strategy. So we're going to have 5 bets go in. The first bet will be 5 ticks offset, then 10, 20, 30, 40. As you can see, we've got the live feed on there on the right hand side of the Betfair interface, and we can keep an eye on the match, see how it develops. If we're not seeing anything promising, then we can always ditch the trade. Just scrolled it forward, and 2 of the bets have already been, well, 3 of the bets have already been matched, and 2 are still pending. And the last bet is about to be taken now at 1.83. It's on the 25th minute, 24th minute. It's going to be taken anytime soon, because we put our bets in more or less on the 1st minute. We're probably at the front of the queue. So there's all our bets taken. We've got £50 liability and just over £30 if we get a full result. There we go, the first goal went in the 36th minute. So if you noticed, as soon as the match was suspended, the goal went in, so there's not that much delay between the Betfair stream and the actual market reaction. So we could actually green out here for £13.63, but the odds aren't shifting that far. It's the last kick of the half. Griezmann's got a free kick, and what a free kick it was. I don't know what that dance is all about, but fantastic free kick. So that was it, that's the market over. We've got the full £30.15p and we've returned our £50 stake. So because we decided to stay in the market until half time, we turned a £13 profit into a £30 profit. So we're going to stay in Spain for this next one on the Villarreal match. And the time has just come up to 1 minute, so the 5 bets have now gone in. And as always, awaiting a pending fill and kill, as you can see as well. All the bets have now been kept. So we're just going to allow time to take our bets. So here is the worst case scenario. It's currently 0-0, approaching the 75th minute, and we're about to read out for a £42 loss. And you've got to ask yourself the question, and be honest with yourself, how many of you in that position, when you're staring at £42 loss, would stick around just to hope that a couple of goals have gone in? And automation removes a lot of the emotion out of trading.